What is going on, guys? It's Benjamin here, and today I'm going to bring you guys the PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds V2 FPS guide. It's 3 months since my last FPS guide for PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. There have been a lot of optimizations to the game, a lot of things have been changed, especially due to the optimizations in the previous video. A lot of those optimizations now currently can even hurt your FPS. So to stay up to date with the latest and greatest in FPS optimizations with PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, please make sure you do hit a like on this video and subscribe if it does help. And let's get right onto the tutorial. Okay, so starting off, what you need to do is head on into the description below and you need to download the FPS pack provided. Once you've downloaded the FPS pack, put it onto your desktop and hit extract here. Now, to be able to extract this file, you need to have either WinRAR or 7-zip. Just Google either of those if you do not have them, and you should be able to extract the file, and you'll be given a folder just like this. Inside of the folder, you're going to find some files and some folders. It might look a little bit complex, but I'm going to run through everything you need to do. Okay, so starting off, we're going to be going through the simplest parts first. So that's going to be starting off with the launch options. Open up the launch options.txt file, and inside of here, it's going to show you guys how to figure out which your custom launch options are going to be. This is going to be dependent on how much system RAM you have. If you do not know, go to the bottom left of your PC, type this PC, right click, go to properties, and inside of here you're going to see installed memory, RAM. I have 24 gigabytes, so corresponding to how much you have, you need to set your own launch options. So if you have 4, 8, 12, 16, whatever it is you have here, you need to change this option within your launch options. So if you have 8, you're going to change by copying and replacing that just inside of there. But I have 24 gigabytes, so this is mine. So then once you've got your launch options, you copy all the way from the front to the back, you go inside of Steam, right click on PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, go to properties, set launch options, and paste them in just like that. If you guys have watched my first FPS guide, this is entirely different. It's completely new launch options. It's completely new settings within the game INI files, so I urge you to follow along with this as well. So once the launch options are done, you can just press close out of that. Now next, what we're going to be doing is going into the game files. So to do that, you need to go into the bottom left, type %appdata% and press enter. Go to app data here at the top, go to local, scroll all the way down to you see TSL game, go into saved, config, Windows no editor. Now inside of here, what you need to do is you need to drag and drop these files which are found here. Drag, replace the file in this destination, and these two here, replace the files in this destination. Now inside of here, what you want to do is make sure that the engine.ini, go into properties, is set to read only. And another thing what you want to do is you also want to do that for the scalability.ini, read only. Now if you guys have any crashes in the future after some game updates, just make sure that you set these files off of read only, and that's completely fine. Make sure that game settings.ini is not on read only, because if you have that on read only, you will not be able to change your in-game settings later on if you wish to do so. So once that's done, you're completely done with the game files and you can exit out. Now for you guys who have watched the previous FPS guide and you've done the PC specific optimizations, which I'm going to run you through now, you do not need to watch the rest of this guide. But for you guys who are new to this and you want to get the best FPS possible and you haven't seen the previous guide, then we're going to go through some PC specific optimization. So first off, what we're going to be doing is going into the bottom left. We're going to be typing in services, pressing enter, and you'll be given this tab here. Scroll all the way down, it's alphabetical order, until you get to the S section, and we're looking for a service called Superfetch, which is found here. Right click on that, go to properties, set the startup type to disabled. Yours will more than likely be running if you haven't turned this off. And then what you want to do is service status, press the stop button. Now I can't do that because I've already stopped it, but if it is running, just hit stop, then hit apply, then press OK. Scroll all the way down again. If you're running Windows 10 this time, we're going to be disabling all of the Xbox services found here. Now the Xbox game monitoring service found here cannot be turned off. Even if you went to go and try and do it, it will not allow you to do it, so don't worry about that one, but just disable the rest of these by doing what I do here. So start off by right clicking, go to properties, startup type, disabled, service status, stop, and then press apply, OK. Do that for this one, and this one. Game monitoring, just leave that alone, and once that's done, you guys can just exit out. Another fantastic tool is going into msconfig, so go into the bottom left again and just type msconfig. Inside of there, press the enter key again, and you'll be given a tab just like this. Go to selective startup type, set this as mine is set here. Go into the boot option and select your Windows 10 or Windows 7 installation, which can be found here. Then what I want you guys to do is set the no GUI boot option and set the timeout to either 3 or 5 seconds, depending on how good your PC is. If you have a really good PC like mine, you can check my specs in the description below. Something modern, set it to 3. If that is giving you any troubles, set it to 5, and make sure that you have the no GUI boot section here. Go to advanced options, check the number of processors tab, and go all the way to the bottom. Make sure you do your scroll just to make sure you get all of them, and go to the highest number available in there. It might be 4, might be 8, 16, who knows, whatever it is, set it to the highest possible, then press OK. Now inside of here, if you have any issues with booting or Windows acts a little bit funny after your next restart, nothing is going to be affected, but if you do not like any of these changes, just make sure that you can also revert back to these just by doing the complete opposite, just by unchecking that and setting this back to the 30-second timeout, which is defaultly set, or whatever it was defaultly set for you. So again, make sure that you just press apply on icon here. Now what I'm going to be doing is going into the services tab found here at the top. Inside of here, we're going to click hide all Microsoft services. And inside of here, as you can see, I've got some of these unchecked. And what I want you guys to do is to go in and uninstall all services that you no longer use. So for instance, I don't use NVIDIA Telemetry Container. If you have an NVIDIA card, I recommend turning that off. To do that, what you got to do is just uncheck this box found here. I don't want Adobe Flash Player update service running automatically when I'm playing games, so I have that turned off. Again, this is down to personal preference, but if you see stuff in here like Apple software that you no longer use or any stuff for your phones, make sure that you turn all of that off if you no longer use it. If you don't know if you use it or not, leave it on, leave it as default. But again, be harsh with this, go in, investigate. Skype updater, I no longer use that. Origin Web Helper, I no longer use that. So once you're done inside of there, make sure that you hit the apply button again. And then with this, you're completely done, so press OK. It's going to ask you if you wish to restart. We want to do that later on, so exit without restart. Now what we're going to be doing is clearing Windows temporary files. To do this, what we're going to do is go into the bottom left, type run, and then what we're going to do is type prefetch. Press OK, and you'll be given a folder like this. Now mine is empty because I did this yesterday, but what you guys are going to have is you're going to have tons of folders and files, which you'll see in other folders and files, which I'll show you in a little bit. What I want you guys to do is highlight every single folder and file within this folder and press the delete key. If it tells you it cannot delete things, just hit the skip option, which you can follow here. Once that's done, you'll probably be left with a file or two in here. If not, don't worry, press X. Now what else you want to do is go into %app data, just like we did earlier on. Inside of here, you want to go to app data, go to local, scroll all the way down until you see the TEMP folder. Now inside of here again, just like the prefetch folder, scroll all the way from the bottom to the top, every file and folder, and then hit the delete key. Once you've done that, it's going to tell me that it cannot delete all the files. That's completely fine. We'll do this for all current items and hit skip and skip again. This is going to keep every file that's actually being used by your PC. Everything else is junk. Again, I love doing this in my FPS guides. If you guys can go into the description below and just tell me how much this actually removed from your PC, because sometimes people get like 10, 20, 30 gigabytes removed. It's absolutely insane if you haven't done that, so it'd just be cool to know. So if you guys can go ahead onto the comment section, that'd be awesome to know. Okay, once we're done with that, we can just exit out, and we can follow that up by changing up our startup programs. So right click on the taskbar, open up Task Manager, and then what we want to do is go into the startup tab found here. Now inside of here, you're going to see every single default program that Windows has installed that boots when you log into Windows. So for instance, if you guys load in and it takes your PC half an hour to do anything, this is why, and I guarantee it will drastically speed up boot up times. So what I want you guys to do is go inside of here and turn off everything that you don't want to automatically boot. For instance, I don't have Chrome set to automatically boot because I want to manually boot Chrome with inside of that. I don't want Windows to be turning on programs for me. I'd rather Windows boot fast and I get to turn on what I want. So to set that, all you got to do is find the programs that you don't want to automatically boot and just press the disable button, which is found here. For instance, I want Steam to automatically boot, but if you didn't, you press the disable button, but we can rename all that just like that. So for instance, Twitch disabled, Skype disabled, Discord's on, everything else is just set to disable. So again, go through this, you'll probably have more files in here than I will, and just be harsh with this and know what you do and don't want. Again, if this doesn't bother you, then stay away from things, but I do recommend that you go in and just turn off things, because again, all it takes me to actually boot up Skype is just press this icon here, but it saves me so much time when it comes to booting up the PC. Then all you got to do is just press the X button. Another fantastic and fast optimization you guys can do is going into the bottom left, typing in this PC, right clicking, going to properties, and going to the advanced system settings found here on the left hand side. Inside of here, you want to go to the advanced tab, go into performance, and go into setting. Now inside of here, yours is going to be adjust for best appearance or let Windows choose. Set it to custom. Now what I want you guys to do is uncheck everything inside of here, and if you guys still want smooth text on Windows, then leave this option on as well. Me personally, I want the best FPS possible. I have a really good PC, but I'm a complete FPS snob and I want every single frame I can get, so I have it turned off. Again, if you want it on, just make sure it's checked, and only have show thumbnails instead of icons on alongside that as well. And then what we want to do is hit the apply button. Windows will flash for a second and things might look a little bit different, but again, this helps out. And once you're done with that, all you got to do is press the OK button found there at the bottom. Press OK once again, and another thing what we're going to be doing is going into our Windows power options. Do that by going into the bottom left and type in power. You'll see edit power plan come up, click on there and go into the advanced change power settings. Now once you're inside of this screen, I want you guys to go to the power options found here. It's running the bit someone, which you will not have. Yours will look something like this. It will say balanced or low performance, and what I want you guys to do is go into the show additional plans here and select high performance. Then go into change plan settings. Inside of here you can set these to either what you want. I personally have nether on both of them. and we want to go to the changed advanced power settings found here. Inside of here, we want to go into hard disk, turn off hard disk after, and the setting will be set to something else besides 0, but I want you guys to set it to 0 and press apply. And once you're done with that, that basically means that Windows will no longer defaultly just turn off your hard drive. Hard drives will not die from this. It just means that Windows can constantly use the hard drive for whenever it needs it and at any speeds it likes, and it will not be throttled. So once that's done, press OK and hit save changes down there if it asks you to do so, and press X. Now another thing I urge you guys to do is go into the description below and make sure you're running the latest GPU drivers. To do this, make sure that you go into either GeForce or the Radeon AMD drivers, depending on which graphics card you have. And for instance, if you're running GeForce or an Nvidia card, go into the automatic driver updates here and hit download, or you can do a manual search. As you can see, June 9th is the latest for me currently, but make sure that you do this again around about once a month. Just make sure that you're running the latest drivers possible to make sure that the game and the driver are talking to each other correctly and making sure that everything is running as smoothly as possible. For AMD, scroll down on the link provided again and the automatically detect and install your driver, hit download on there and follow the on-screen prompt that it gives you. Another fantastic tool which we'll be using later on, which I've included a link to but it's not in the FPS pack, is Razer Cortex. I highly recommend that you guys download this and sign up for an account. I guarantee it will work wonders for you guys who are running on more low-end to mid-end machines. I have a high-end machine and I personally use this as well, and it just frees up a lot of RAM and means that no excess clutter is running in the background of your game to make sure that you have the most optimal experience possible. So again, if you guys want to go ahead and download this now, I'm going to show you briefly how to use it later on because it's not included for everyone, but again, I do recommend downloading that. So moving on inside of the FPS pack, go into CCleaner and run the setup. I personally already have it installed, so just go ahead and install it and you'll be given the prompt like this. Run the program, it will look something like this, and what I want you guys to do is hit the Analyze button found under the Cleaner tab. Again, I ran this yesterday, so it's going to be incredibly fast for me. If you guys have a hard drive or anything else, this could take a lot longer, especially if you haven't run this before, and it's going to tell you how many files can be removed after it's done. So what we're going to do is hit the Run Cleaner button here and follow the on-screen prompts and do everything it tells you to do. Press yes, you say closing application, and again, cleaning complete. Now what I want you guys to do again is run this a few more times, it might take a couple, until you're given this screen here, analysis complete. If it doesn't say that after 1 or 2 times, keep running Analyze, keep hitting Run Cleaner until you're given this, and this is when you're given the go-ahead. Then what I want you guys to do is go into the registry file found inside of here, hit scan for issues, and again, as you can see, I've got only a couple of issues here. I guarantee you guys are going to have pages upon pages if you haven't done this before, so once that's done, hit fix selected issues, backup registry, no, fixed all selected issues, and scan again. And then I want you guys to keep scanning until you're given the no issues were found thing. Again, make sure you keep hitting fix and keep on scanning until you're given this thing here. It will usually take around about 3 times. Another fantastic tool inside of here is the uninstall tool. Again, this shows up a lot more programs than Windows does. Again, if you guys are not using any old phone software or anything like that, go through here, or any excess games, make sure that you remove clutter from your system. If you have any games in here that you haven't played in ages, like Call of Duty World at War, I don't have any interest in playing that recently, so I'm going to uninstall, hit the delete button for Steam, just things like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be Steam games. Do not touch any of the Microsoft Visual stuff. I'm talking about programs and files here. If you're not sure what something is, then just leave it on your PC just to be safe. But again, you can go through here and declutter your system drastically. Now once you're done with CCleaner, just press X, and I recommend that you guys use that program around about once a month. I recommend either using it on the last day of every month or the first day of every month, just to make sure that your system is running to the optimal performance it can. Okay, what I want you guys to do after that is make sure that you clear your recycle bin just by hitting empty recycle bin. I'm also going to go into the file explorer found here in the bottom left, and I go to this PC. Now what we're going to be doing is selecting our hard drives. Right click, go to properties, go into the general tab and go into disk cleanup. It's going to have a bunch of files found here, and what we're going to do is hit OK. It will ask you if you want to permanently delete the files, press yes. Now what we want to do is do that through every single one of your hard drives installed on your PC. So for me, local disk, hard drive 1 and secondary hard drive. This just means it's going to delete excess clutter, it's going to delete duplicate files, and it's going to speed up your system. Okay, once that's done, press the OK key and we are completely done with the tutorial. Now what we can do is get to booting the game. So for instance, I run Razer Cortex, so I'm going to open up Razer Cortex now. Another great thing you guys can do is overclock your graphics cards, which I'll have a guide for coming out soon. So again, subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified when that one comes out. It helps a ton with games, especially for you guys running low-end, mid-end and high-end PCs. It can actually increase your frames drastically because we want to juice as many as possible. So once Razer Cortex is running, I then open the time resolution, which is found inside of here. This basically allows Windows code to talk to itself as fastly as possible. That's pretty much the simple explanation of it. Right click, run as admin. I also drag this onto my desktop just for convenience. And inside of here, what we want to do is hit the maximum button and hit minimize. So what we're going to do now is we're going to boot our game by pressing play. And this is going to run along in the background. And once we're done playing, we'll close out the game, we'll hit default and then hit X. Whilst you're playing the game, you want to make sure that it's FPS running and running on maximum and just minimize it just like that. And there you guys have it. What we can then go ahead and do whilst inside of the game is go into our in-game options, which can be accessed by hitting the cog in the top right. And inside of here, you still have free reign to do whatever you want in terms of video options. Now, for you guys who are running any system out there, if you're running a really low end one, I recommend setting everything to very low. But even if you're running a really high end PC, I recommend copying my settings here. Screen scale 100%. If you guys are still getting lower FPS, try fiddling around with this, turn it down. Anti-aliasing very low, post-processing very low. Set textures to medium because again they look fantastic, and view distance is set to low just to make sure it puts a tiny bit of strain on the GPU. Again, if you're getting lowish frames, try setting this to very low. And once you're done with all that, hit the apply button. Press OK, and we're ready to play Battlegrounds. So thank you very much guys for watching this FPS guide. If you guys are interested in other FPS guides coming out on more modern titles or older titles that you play to make sure that you get the best frame rate possible depending on the PC that you're running, whether that be low end, high end or medium end, please do subscribe to the channel. I try my hardest to go around and do as much research as possible and find the best optimizations for you guys to make sure that you're having the best experience inside of these games. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for other tutorials as well. Thank you very much for watching guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.